Hello, we are the Book Buddies. I'm Noah Holloway, and I'm the multi-perspective person.
I'm Autumn Clemens, and I'm the summarizer.
I'm Brooke Turpo, and I'm the vocab finder.
I'm India, and I'm the moderator this week.
This is for Chapter 1.
And since I'm the moderator, I'm going to give you guys background information on the book, The Night. And so the book starts off in 1942 in Saget, in the town of Saget with, of course, all Jews. And as the chapter 1 is going on, they're talking about what's happening and what's changing with them, like having to go to concentration camps. And chapter 1 is basically Chapter 1 basically is saying how they go from their homes or the ghettos, how the ghettos start, and they have to go to ghetto, then how they start going to the train ride for the concentration camp in chapter 1. And that is a background. And of course, you know, World War II is going on, all the stuff with the Jews and Adolf Hitler. And that is the background information on the book.
Okay.
I'm the summarizer, so here we go. Moshe the Beetle is a poor Jew living in the town of Saget. But despite all of his shy and awkwardness, the narrator, Eliezer Weasel, likes and becomes friends with him anyway. Like Moshe, Eliezer is Jewish and dedicates himself to studying the Talmud and the Kabbalah despite his father's protests. One day, Moshe the Beetle spots Eliezer crying while praying in the synagogue, and from there a connection grew between them. They began confiding with one another, even to the point where Eliezer told Moshe the Beetle about his wishes to study the Kabbalah. To his surprise, Moshe knew all about it and began to teach him. Everything was fine until the Hungarian police expelled all the foreign Jews from the town of Saget. All the other Jews in the town worried about these foreigners, but quickly began to worry about their own future as well. Months passed before Moshe the Beetle returned to Saget with all kinds of tales about his time away in Poland. He spoke of the Gestapo forcing them to dig out their own graves. Although he was telling the people death was coming their way and to leave Saget, no one believed him and stayed. Later, the restrictions began. No Jew could leave their house for 3 days or they'll die. No Jew should possess valuable items or they'll die. And every Jew should wear the yellow star. Next, the Gestapo set up 2 ghettos and moved the Jews there. They believed their situation wasn't that bad until they heard about the news of deportation.
What is the significance?
Now we are going to hear from our multiple perspectives, vocab finder, sorry guys, vocab finder and quote finder by Brooke Turpo.
Well, the first quote,
chapter 1.
The first quote is on pages 29 through 30, and it begins like this. Our old servant Martha came to see us weeping bitterly. She begged us to come to her village where she could give us a safe refuge. My father did not want to hear it. You can go if you want to, he said to me and to my old sisters. I shall stay here with your mother and the child. Naturally, we refused to be separated. Now, what I think about this quote is that I think that they were giving warning before of the terrible deportation and transportation to these awful camps. And what I think is that they valued family more than going away and escaping, and most of them didn't have enough courage to escape. So, any other ideas on this quote?
Yeah, I agree with what you said.
I agree with what you said too, and I feel like you said it well.
Now, can we answer some questions? Can we answer?
She has a second quote.
Oh, one more.
And this is also on page 30. If you ask me, the whole business of deportation is just a farce. Oh yes, don't laugh. The Boches just want to steal our jewelry. They know we've buried everything and that they have to hunt for it. It's easier when the owners are on holiday. On holiday. I chose this quote because I think that their perspective of their situation is kind of twisted. That they think that they're being transported to ghettos is a vacation, basically, and that they're just going away for a short while. and they were greatly mistaken.
And I think that's a pretty interesting thing about the book. A lot of the Jews, that are the ignorant Jews that are in Hungary, since the war, never really entered Germany entered Hungary until the Germans came into Hungary. The Jews were very ignorant about all the concentration camps that their fellow Jews were in and died in.
I agree, and I like what you added on to that. And just to add a little bit more on, you can kind of see that with Moshe. Sorry, guys. But yeah, Moshe was trying to give them, a little advice on it, and they didn't believe it because they were ignorant to what was actually going on.
And I just want to, how do you understand, like, how will they think that's a vacation? Because they still, the Gestapo gave them, like, regulations that they had to follow, so I just don't understand that part.
It just shows their ignorance.
Yeah.
All right, now we can get some questions in from the moderator, and then after that, I will do my multi perspective thing.
Okay, so the first question I came up with: why do you guys think that Elijah cries when he prays?
I think he was crying because he wanted to study the Kabbalah, but his father wouldn't let him. So I think that he was just trying to let out some frustration, and yeah.
I just think that he's very religious and he's very emotional and passionate about his prayer and probably wants good things to happen. So
To add on to that, I agree with what both of you guys are saying, but I also feel like he's crying because of the time that he's in. There's a lot of stuff going on right now. So that probably is one of the reasons why he gets so emotional when speaking to his higher power.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. I do think he has a connection. Right now in the book, I think he has a strong connection with God, but later on, I feel like his connection is gonna be lost because of some of the unhuman, the violations against human rights that the Germans committed.
The next question is, why do you think the Jews in Sagat did not listen to the warnings Moshe was giving them?
They were ignorant, and I guess they kind of didn't want to believe it.
Yeah. Sometimes the truth is hard to believe.
Yeah, so they're like, no, you're just crazy.
Yeah.
But
it did kind of sound crazy though, right?
they wouldn't actually believe that somebody would take them away and persecute them just for being Jewish, because that's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
I think a lot of it has to be about the like how like they're not, since it's still 1944. There still aren't technologically Hungary isn't the most advanced. So it's like they're not really aware with the world around them still, and even though it's 1944. So yeah, they're very ignorant of the situation just 100 miles from them in Poland and Germany and all those things.
Why are the Jews so persistently optimistic?
Probably because of their faith in God, I think, is what it is.
Yeah.
I think that and a lot of it is because of their inexperience of the world. A lot of them have never traveled to 20 miles away from their city. So, because it's always been one city of Jews that they've always lived in. I think that they haven't gone anywhere and experienced the world, so that they're ignorant and naive. Maybe.
I agree with that. 100%.
I agree too.
I think, especially about the part when he said their intense religious affairs, they think that God is always merciful and will always be there for them in times of need. So they don't think that they'll ever face these hardships and hard times. So
We're saying that like they really rely on Him.
They really rely on God. And it said it multiple times in the books. Like when they went to the camp, they kept on praying to God, and they kept on asking, "Oh, why couldn't God have how could God have done this?
Yeah.
So everybody knows that Eliezer is young when the story starts. So knowing how young he is, recalling the events of chapter 1, do you believe that all these events are 100% reliable or factual? Explain why or why not.
I think
Is all these events are factual?
Yes, because the story is based on.
Well, what do you think? What do you
the
think?
story
what do-
is
what do
based-
you
Yeah,
think?
what do you think?
I personally feel like, kids can sometimes over exaggerate things. So I don't really know. I think 90%, I think the events are true, but I don't know if he over exaggerated some of the events. And kids,
And
but
those events are?
kids do kind of know. Can I finish? Kids do kind of know more than we think, because I kind of remember as a kid, I do remember stuff, and a lot of stuff that he's not used to, and a lot of it's just kind of events that you can't really forget. So I do honestly.
And those events.
At the most, I think it's 95% or more factual, but I think it's factual enough.
Yeah,
Now
I think
that-
the story is based off factual events, but from a child's perspective, they can tell things off of an unbiased position
Yeah.
because they haven't been influenced by the world or influenced by other adults. They can tell the story based off how they see it in their eyes.
It's very
Yeah.
limited.
Yeah.
And to answer Noah's question, Noah was saying the events is basically the whole book, and he's saying what happened to him through his experience of the concentration camp. So everything that happened in chapter 1 with them preparing for going to the ghettos, all those events is what I was referring to, Noah.
Okay.
Did I answer your question?
Yes, you did. We're gonna just shift back a little bit. Those don't work.
They do work.
Okay. So now that we've found a new setting, let's let's go to our next question.
Due to the suffering and constant changes the Jews had to endure, do you believe while going through this their faith increased or decreased? If you believe either answer, do you think the changes and suffering was the cause of that?
I believe that their faith will definitely decrease, and then that is due to their suffering, because you know how earlier we said that they really relied on God, and then they started to question, why would God put us in a situation like that? So I think their faith will decrease.
I think at first when everything started happening, they kind of put faith into God, like everything will get better and stuff, and then eventually when but this is probably towards later, but in chapter 1 I think it was increased because they saw that it was kind of calming down, but then maybe a few days later something bad would happen, but I think it was increasing. But I think towards when we get later into the book, it's probably going to decrease because they start seeing the crazy stuff that is going to
I
happen to
think
them.
their faith in God fluctuates throughout the whole entire book.
Yeah.
Because but this is later on, once bombings happens and progress behind defeating of German troops happens, their faith eruptly surges and increases. But when he sees babies burnt and hangings and him getting whipped, he doesn't. Their faith goes away.
Yeah.
I think that their faith was obviously tested, but a lot of the people, I think, the people that do survive will keep their faith because it's not like back in 1944, atheism or agnosticism wasn't a common thing, so I don't think they would convert or just not be religious at all. Next question, please.
Okay, as a kid going through all of this, how do you feel Eliezer handled what was going on in his world?
Well, I don't.
This is in chapter 1, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So, I think Eliza, he just handled it like a regular.
Can you say the question again?
As a kid going through all of this, how do you feel Eliza handled what was going on in the world?
He handled it very calmly and well in the first chapter because he's just following his parents like he's supposed to do and like it was expected of him. And he wasn't acting rash and he wasn't going all off on the decisions that were made by the Hungarian police. So I think he replied in a very calm way, but not in a very subversive, rebellious way. That he didn't have the mindset that he could change certain things.
I feel as if he handled the situation with a lot of maturity because, with, his dad, the position that he was in with the town, his dad might give him some tasks. Like one time he told his son to go wake some family up and help them, but he was like helpful with it and he handled it, with maturities. And then I heard how in chapter 1 how they had to wait outside and stuff, and he seemed like he didn't really complain reading the book, and he just seemed like, kids, they can kind of be a little irrational, cry, whine, and it seemed like he kind of took it with it all coming at such a fast pace, the changes and stuff. I felt like he handled it with great maturity, especially for him being so young.
Yeah.
I think he had a lot of help with throughout what he was doing. A lot of the inmates helped him out. They gave him tips for him to survive, and I think that's just humanity in those other human beings. So yes, he had a lot of help. That's how I think he got through it.
I have one more question for you guys. What are your feelings towards the actions of the Jews, and how do you think the Jews felt with the rapid changes going on?
My feelings toward the Jews in this situation.
Yeah, like how they're being treated.
I feel sad. Like no person should be treated like that just because of their religion and what they practice and who they choose to believe in. And I just really hate Hitler. I don't like him.
Yes, I have a child. Hate Hitler. Yes. And
You said Heil Hitler?
I don't understand.
Heil?
Let's not do it.
And I don't understand.
You said Heil
how,
Hitler?
Shush. I don't understand how people can follow him just so blindedly. Not even try to question his morals.
90% of the world are followers, not leaders.
Oh, wow.
But I totally agree with you. Like, it really makes me mad. Like, reading chapter 1, I was so in my feelings because do you remember when in the book when they said they threw babies up in the air as targets? And I was like, you have to be insane. Something has to be wrong with you. Like, the stuff that they did with the Jews, it's just like, who would even come up with something like that? As
just crazy.
Yeah, it's like
It's like they followed
It's horrible.
sociopath.
And I felt like the Jews, as we were saying with the quote, in chapter 1, I felt like with the changes going, they just felt like let's say they would take 10 cents away from them, but then give them back 1. And then when they get the 1 cent back, they be kind of happy. Like, they were happy about going to the ghettos, I remember.
Oh, yeah.
But, like, they're moving you from your places and forcing you. So they were kind of maybe, ignorant to what was going on, or maybe they were just happy with what they were getting. Maybe they felt like they should have been getting it. I don't know. But if that was me, I feel like I would have been unhappy. And I felt like the Jews were kind of just ignorant and saddened at the same time, but they try to see the bright light in the situation.
Now we're going to see the multiple perspectives from Noah.
Okay. So, all right. Based on the gender theory, the night is based heavily on a man's point of view. In Eliza's point of view, women are still important to him, but he knows that she's dead. Women are viewed as powerless by the Germans, so they are automatically killed in the concentration camps. Men are viewed as powerful in the book. The healthy men are kept, and this means the healthy men are worth something to Germans. The sick men and women are thrown away and killed. in the furnaces and gas chambers. The hell in the book, Elijah states he's 15 to a prisoner, but since the prisoner has so much humanity in him, and he helps him and says, and he curses at him and tells him that he tell the man that he's 18. This saves his life and shows older men are valuable instead of women. He also does this with his father. His father is 50, but the prisoner tells him to be 40 because the young and healthy men are valuable to the Germans.
Adios from the book buddies. I mean, reading book buddies.
Awkward.